My challenge with this band, as much as I love them, is it's for me doing these videos, I'm like, where do I focus my attention? What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. Everything Went Numb is from Streetlight Manifesto's debut studio album, Everything Goes Numb, released in 2003. Almost missed that slight difference in those titles. The first thing I'm going to say about this band is, after exploring ska and punk so heavily over the last 12 months, these guys are simply still in a league of their own. Such a unique musical identity, very signature songwriting style, so I'm always pumped to circle back to them when I can. And so far, all I've heard is Somewhere in the Between, cover to cover. We did the full album on Patreon a while back, and then more recently I checked out Catch 22, where it all began. So this song and album fall right in between the two. And it's the first album Thomas Kalnacki participated in since his departure from Catch 22. So without further ado, let's keep going down the line and close out 2024 with Everything Went Numb from Streetlight Manifesto. Damn Barry sax. Woo!
Story goes like everything went numb for the money and the guns, parents, everything it out. Nothing to worry about. The band don't even from a plan. If everything is smooth, then you walk away a rich man. So when it begins, everybody walks in. Could this be the way? You're the day that didn't go where?
Damn. Okay, slowing down for just a second. I know it'll take off in a minute. My challenge with this band, as much as I love them, is it's for me doing these videos, I'm like, where do I focus my attention? Obviously, I'm a bass channel. It's hard not to talk about trumpet, as I've been playing trumpet even longer than bass. I just love the two. And when a band has both of them really well, it's like, where do I listen? Okay, he started off with a really low, I think that was kind of walking bass line-ish, maybe a little bit more syncopated. Then he went real high and was walking it up there. I mean, 31 second mark, already nuts. Let's go back and hear that again.
And story goes like everything went numb for the money and the guns, parents, everything it out. Nothing to worry about. The band don't even from a plan. If everything is smooth, then you walk away a rich man. So when it begins, everybody walks in. Could this be the way? You're the day that didn't go where? It's not in a bed on the bed. The black man never wins in the end, so.
Okay, I did have in my notes, this was Josh Ansley prior to Pete McCullough, and I fell in love with his bass playing too on Somewhere in the Between, but he was also the bass player for Catch 22, and I think I read that he always used fretless, or sometimes, I'm not sure, but I do know that I got to get a little bit of a jazzier, smoother tone, just something a little more mellow, and it sounds like we're hearing C minor, F minor sort of. Then he goes up and kind of repeats some of those roots and octaves. So jump in one more time and kind of catch that, and we'll keep going. Right here. Okay. Just all over the place. Like how the bass is the instrument that kind of picked up the energy there and started kind of walking it a little bit more before they kicked back in. I heard him kind of repeat a recurring kind of F minor little phrase there. Did sort of a fill. And went back up. Little nice lead in there. Nice little Andalusian cadence in there. I'm kind of hyper aware of those. Lots of songs lately have had these. Again, minor 1. I think we're largely in C minor, which includes F minor. But keeps hovering around C. They go to the B flat major, down to the major 7 in C minor. So just a major chord off of the 7th degree of the scale. Down one more to the 6th. Then I believe they're doing the major 5 there. So it kind of gives me a better idea where the tonal center was. I was like, is it F or is it in C? And he was walking sort of a C minor, B flat, E flat progression earlier, but there hasn't really been any repetitive chord progression to kind of latch onto yet. These guys are a challenge to analyze. Again, it's like, what do I even talk about? I'm just on the bass and the chord progression, all this other stuff going off. So let's keep it rolling, and I'll jump in somewhere on this roller coaster. Just all over the place. So just a little tip on how you would kind of find a chord progression here. I think I'm kind of getting it, but he's been pretty religious about starting every bar on the root note. And walking bass lines are kind of tough sometimes because every player does it a bit differently. I would imagine for a band like this with so much going on, that's probably a good anchor point with all the musicians and all the craziness. Yeah, sure, still walk the bass line creatively and link everything together, but try to stay close to home when it changes chord progressions, because some walking bass line, bassists who walk bass lines will just kind of abandon that root note approach where you're on the root note every bar, and they're just, they're up here going. And you're like, well, where did it change chords? And they get kind of out there on it. So I like that he's kind of hovering really closely to C, B flat, E flat. And if you listen right on each bar change, he's at least kind of giving me a hint there. What's going on? I think I was a little ahead. Except right there. Kind of a different pattern here. It kind of reminds me of what he did in the intro. Just going up high every now and then, but he's kind of sticking there with a different kind of phrasing, kind of grabbing this maybe octave or something, kind of a wide interval stretch. It almost sounds like he's kind of going like a or I don't know what kind of stretch, or maybe just a simple that kind of thing, but it's giving it a really interesting just kind of groove. And I like kind of his storyboarding of the bass line so far. It's got your filthy good, juicy walking bass line kind of hybridized with more of a broken up groove. And that may be all walks. It's hard to tell. There's a lot going on, but he's got the walking line approach, but he might be just funking it up a bit more. Funking. Didn't say the wrong word there. And every now and then he just makes sure to inject this higher little line. It's like, hey, I'm here. The bass is here. So he's really traversing the fretboard, going from way down here and every now and then so I just like his approach, not really hugging any one range and letting the bass line just be a free-for-all. Okay. Ooh, that's so dynamic. That's a little great section. And another takeaway I had after hearing more of their material is that despite their epic just onslaught of musicality and the big ensemble and just like the capacity they can operate at, I love that they still include these really kind of dynamic duet little breakdowns. I like that they have the restraint sometimes, because they could easily be everyone at triple forte all the time, crazy shredding. But I like that they still have the awareness to kind of put in these little parts here. I want to hear that again, because it just came out of nowhere. Yeah, there's Andalusian. Cool. Just guessing. Woo. Little kind of call and answer there between the horns and the vocals. I mean, machine gun scatting. What else would you call that? I've heard him do this before. And, you know, another thing to shed light on is that despite how fast all the other players can go, let's not forget how fast he can sing. I kind of learned this here in Catch 22, that chorus. Rapid fire. It's just a unique vocal style. And his tone is he's got this kind of rasp to his voice. I don't know, just everything about them is so signature and very recognizable. I want to hear this call and answer again. So cool. See? Good restraint. These little dynamic parts. Okay. I like how he kind of hung over and just drove home that kind of half-step tension they added. It's kind of like Aerosmith Dream On in a way. Just kind of makes it a little tense. And he could have cut off with everyone. I wonder why he kind of hung over the bar line there. Just little quirky things like this, too, are so fun. Okay. No? Damn it, I cannot guess this chord progression. It's irregular. It's not a 4-bar repeat, unless I'm just getting distracted, but it just sounds like it's this like 16-bar kind of cadence where nothing really repeats, but the whole thing kind of repeats. It's just kind of all over the place. I kind of got to figure it out and hear it a bit more, but it's largely stayed within this kind of C minor framework. And another cool thing here is that this is one of those signature things, like they didn't have to do this. The song was already so succinct and had a great framework, but I like how they kind of foreshadowed a really big explosion, which we're kind of at now, with this part. That little like stray kick drum kind of thrown in. It's like, okay, it's going to pick back up. Kind of a light snare roll, but not dugga dugga dugga. It's just, so it's kind of like halftime. And you're kind of like, and it kind of picks up. Okay, so we're back into this. It's not full explosion, full throttle yet. Then they take you back. Now you'll listen to the difference in the drum lead in this time. The snare is twice as fast, and you feel it's going to be, this is the time it's going to take off. they are so good at that kind of like cinematic songwriting in a movie and like a movie plot. You might want to kind of have a bit of misdirection. I find in songwriting, yeah, the more progressive out there bands kind of do that, but like your typical listener is trying to kind of feel at home and have a bit of an idea of where the song might go. And while this song has definitely given me a sense of where it's going, I like little things like this that just kind of delay the inevitable a bit. And that's what I mean when I said in the intro, a very signature songwriting style. To just put this in almost at the end and then take it out, and it almost kind of brings twice the intensity when they do it this way. Let's ride it out. This has been fun. Ooh, left me on the 5. I got to resolve it. There we go. Again, as I say often on the channel, at this point, I'm kind of, with some artists, starting to see the bigger picture. We're not just doing one song from one album and then one from another. We've done some full albums on Patreon, and then I'll go back, like today, and check out a song from an album I haven't heard. And it's coming into view. This is an album I think will kind of tick all the boxes and get the best of both worlds from what I liked about just hearing Keys Be Nights, the song. I haven't heard the album yet, and then the full album from 2007. This will be on the poll over at Patreon, so if you'd like to support the channel further and participate, come join us. We've done 12, 13 full albums now, lots more other things there, bass lessons and such, and if you enjoyed this, please make sure you're subscribed. I love you all. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you in the next one.